Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since we've seen each other and I will update you on the reason for that, but today is not about me. Today we are taking a look at Onision's third book, because on this channel we love kicking people when they're down. If you haven't seen my first videos on the horseshit writing of this man, I recommend you watch those before you watch this one, so you can just pause this and head over to those, because I think I will be linking them in the description below. Because let's be honest, they're horrible, but I need the watch time, so thank you. First, some very general thoughts on this book. It has absolutely no plotline whatsoever. There is no plot in this. It just feels like he had an idea and then he just stretched it out to make an entire book. There are like aliens and superpowers and like this really loose concept without any like core ideas whatsoever, and a more honest rendition of Greg's hero complex, so that's nice because we totally needed another book depicting that. In this book, Greg finally admits that the stuff he's writing about is very real, at least to him. Apparently, especially this book. Is he saying he has superpowers? Probably not. Does he falsely think he's some kind of hero? Most probably. He actually describes This Is Why I Hate You as like his dark side, and then Stones to Abigail as his light side, and then he sees this book as his real self. And as we go through the book, you will notice why I think this is absolutely insane. I will be doing a chapter by chapter walkthrough from this book. So without further ado, let's get started on that. So he opens the first chapter with a quote about his father's reaction about his mother leaving, where he asks the following. Hang on. Why did your trust go away just because my mom left you? When someone you love leaves you, your trust tends to be pretty broken. That's what usually happens. And I think this really shows like the disconnect between him and like normal people. Also, this whole chapter is like drenched in like this really odd foreshadowing that doesn't really lead to anything. And what's even weirder, he states that he lives in a 6x8 box, but he later on admits to having a room. So I'm not sure how this works. Like, are you living in a box or are you living in a room? Please clarify. There's a really short introduction to the main characters of this book. Daniel, who is the main character, the mother, and Joanna and Christina, which are his sisters. And they play like absolutely no role in this book whatsoever. They're just there like in the first chapter, and then you like never hear of them again. Which is odd, you know, because you tend to see your sisters at least like a decent amount, but apparently not in this book. Daniel/Greg falls off a swing. It furthers the plot in absolutely no way. It's just a thing that happens, which is a theme in Onision books. Like, most of the book is made of stuff that just happens. It doesn't lead anywhere, it doesn't add anything, it's just kind of there. Something else that I find really odd in this first chapter is, well, you know, I'm an environmental biologist, and if you didn't, I'm an environmental biologist, and I'm really passionate about my field of science. But I would never go as far as to state, as Greg does in this chapter, that the forest around my house is my only true friend. Get your crap together, that doesn't make any sense. A forest is not your friend, it can be beautiful and calming, but friendship isn't something you should expect from a collection of trees. This chapter just hammers in the fact of a dysfunctional family, like so much. Like, Jesus, we get it. A few hints would have been enough. You don't have to make it so blatantly obvious. It's like he expects his readers to have absolutely no kind of intelligence and just feels the need to explain everything in detail. The beauty of reading a book is that you get to add in details yourself. You get to make your own vision of what's happening, but he doesn't allow that because he blatantly states absolutely everything. There's also an introduction to the fact that some of his relatives abuse alcohol, which also forwards the plot in absolutely no way. Like, it adds nothing, it's just kind of there again, even though there's an entire scene about it. Onision also writes the sentence here, I'm really anti-drug, which is like, yeah, we know. Like, if you have read the entire thing with the Billy scandal, you know that, I mean, he's so anti-drug, he probably doesn't even take painkillers. So, blatantly obvious once more, and just another way to, like, forward his propaganda into his base of readers. And in the end of this chapter, there is finally an introduction to the main concept of this book. Aliens. Yeah. The main character suffers nightmares about aliens, and that's basically the whole book. Ta-da! You can stop watching now. I'm just kidding, it gets worse. Okay, so here we get introduced to the milieu of the school Daniel is attending, but first the school bus explodes. And then apparently that doesn't happen. It was all kind of some kind of dream, an illusion, something crazy people have. I don't know. It was weird. It was odd. And again, added nothing. So once Daniel gets to school, one of his teachers shows him a picture of an alien. Why? No one knows. She just does. Because why not? And this, of course, scars a little Daniel for life and makes him even more messed up, because we totally needed that. Just like in Onision's other books, the school environment is horrendously written. It reads kind of like a 5th grader's like short story project, but like drenched in this like observational metaphors of a sociopath. It's a very, very, very confusing read. Also, some girl crushes on Greg's character, and then he body shames her by calling her, hang on, a chunky Amazonian. Something that is in general part of his character. If you're not exactly what he likes, he will be generally down-putting towards you. And that's like all the people he ever meets, because, you know, it's Daniel, it's Onision, you know, he doesn't accept anyone unless they worship him like a god. And then at the end of this chapter, the alien returns. What really confuses me about this book is, you know, you've probably seen a movie about aliens or read a book or something, and in general, like, the human reaction to that is to do some kind of research. Maybe you Google stuff, or maybe you like try to look up something like, why am I suddenly dreaming about any aliens? Because I didn't used to do that before. So where did this come from? What is the reason? Nothing like this happens, which is really confusing. The character just kind of accepts, like, hey, I have horrific nightmares and I should probably keep that to myself and not tell anyone, because that's a normal response. Chapter 4 can basically be summarized by 3 sentences. Onision's friend is creep. The main character psychoanalyzes this bully for a way too long of a time, and then nothing happens. Again, an entire like chapter of just filler. Nothing interesting occurs here. Nothing. Oh yes, finally the admitted hero complex. This is my favorite part about this book, because it is such an obvious attempt at being self-aware, and it falls so flat. Because the thing about being self-aware is it's supposed to be making you more likable. It doesn't work at all. He's still just as obnoxious and annoying and unlikable as he was before. Also, for some reason, he keeps referencing being abnormally tall, which becomes kind of obvious if you've seen the photo of Onision and Repsion in court, because he claims online to be 5'11", and this man is clearly not 5'11". There's no way. So, Greg, what do we have here? Another little complex? Because you seem to have a lot of those. Like a lot of those. You know, as a short woman, takes one to know one. You're short. Just accept it. Moving on. And then the boys, Daniel and his friend David, go for some reason fishing, but they don't go actually like fishing. They shoot the fish with arrows because that's a thing you do. I don't know. And then nothing else happens in this chapter. It's basically just garbage filler. Again, like most of this book is pretty much garbage filler. It's like that one anime episode where they just put stuff in to drag out the fight scene. You know, the one where they just basically yell at each other for like 20 minutes and then next episode. That's like this entire book. Something finally happens in this chapter. It took him 5 chapters, but in the 6th one, there's finally something going on. There's finally something interesting that's happening. Daniel and David find a dead girl in the creek. However, the writing around this incident it's just so stiff. It's kind of like the creativity of this man is also dead. It's so stiff and unrealistic, and it's like he didn't even try. It's like he just wrote down the first draft of the book, and then he just like, let's publish that, that's good enough. Like, the lack of creativity in this, I didn't expect it from a man who uploaded the same banana song to YouTube like 10 times. I really didn't.
Wow! Wow, that's incredible!
Daniel finally gets an apology about the alien pictures from a few chapters back, which of course helps no one and furthers the plot in no way, so it's completely unnecessary. Once again. Daniel also in this chapter confronts the school bully, Philip, by beating him up, and then he feels really, really good about it for like several pages. Sociopath warning, anyone? Very unsettling stuff. In chapter 7, Philip, the school bully, dies in a sledding accident, because why not? Because, you know, why further the plot in any way? Like, why give him a character arc, like some kind of a redemption? Of course not. It's just so much easier to just kill him off like 2 chapters after he was introduced. Because why care about the stuff you're writing? Daniel's soul floats away from him one night, traveling up into space or some crap, and we get some really specific alien details, like the eyes are written in such a great detail. It's insane. Also, can you see the plot yet? Because I can't, and I've looked through this book twice. I don't know, I can't see a plot here. Nothing happens. Literally another filler chapter. I've been saying this a lot, but it also occurs so much, it's impossible not to mention it. David says maybe the creek is what's allowing the abductions to happen. Daniel gets a nosebleed, and then that's all this chapter has to offer. Like, it gives me a headache. It's so dumb. Like, at this point, I can literally feel myself losing brain cells. And boom, Daniel has superpowers. There has been no earlier hints at this. They just show up suddenly in chapter 9. What powers does he have, you ask? He sees the stomachs of pregnant women glow. Literally, that's it. That's the example that he uses. It's like, okay, sure. I honestly, I can't fathom that someone sat down, wrote this garbage, probably edited it, and thought it would be a good idea to publish it. Honestly, at this point, someone help me. Here it gets gory. Daniel gets his eyes and his heart ripped out by the alien. And the description of this is disturbingly undisturbing, because this is a very yucky thing. Like your eyes being pulled out isn't something that is supposed to make you feel comfortable. And this should be very easy to write in a disturbing way, because the concept itself is disturbing, so you don't really need to add all that much. But Greg, of course, fails miserably, and this is just another part of his book that's insanely boring. Daniel admits to the abductions, finally, which is something he should have told someone about in like the second chapter when they happened for the first time. And of course no one believes him, because why would they? The family gets into a car crash after school, which doesn't really add anything to the plot either. It's again just one of those many things in Greg's books that just happens. I can feel my brain melting. Like, I'm kind of expecting it to just start pouring out of my nose at this point. The best part about this chapter is the fact that in one of the sentences speaking about Daniel, it literally says Greg. I haven't written the sentence down, but there is a literal sentence where he has replaced the protagonist's name with his own. So, if nothing else, it's finally confirmed. He literally writes himself into his books, which is, if you know anything at all about good writing, it's always an awful idea. It never turns out well. So after melting his mother's eyes, yes, you heard that right, and then unmelting them somehow, I don't know, Daniel learns that the special ed kid at school also melted eyes once, and that he's an alien. How? I don't know. Why? I don't know. Does it further the plot? I mean, it's not completely useless, but it's also like, I don't care. I just don't care at this point. I want this reading experience to be over. I think I literally put that in my notes too. Yeah, it's just says please let it be over soon. And that's all that's worth noting in this chapter. This is going so well. Oh my god. And in chapter 12 we get another standard really weird sex scene from Onision. This time in the concept of a dream from an underage boy, which just makes it even stranger than the stuff before. It's just, please don't make me read this. Beam me up, Scotty. Daniel finally gets abducted by the classic beam of light, and he's taken aboard the spaceship, and it's the most boring abduction I've ever read about. It's sleep material. Like, if you want to fall asleep easily, just read this chapter of the book. It's kind of like reading something in a different language, you know. You don't really have the concentration capacity to read like more than one word, and then you have to pause to look that word up. Like, that's the kind of boring that this is. In chapter 13, Daddy preaches a small church, which makes it blatantly obvious why Onision discriminates against religious people, because he does. He has said on multiple occasions that if you believe in a god, you're dumb and you're stupid. Again, it's daddy issues. I mean, daddy issues seem to be a very common part of his literature because it's prominent in like all the books. And also, I don't remember what it was like in Stones to Abigail, but at least in This Is Why I Hate You, the father was religious there too. So, a clear theme, I guess. Still no like coherent plotline though. And here we get again a very weird sex scene, and here also with a pretty big age gap. Please help me, my eyes are bleeding. It's that kind of bad. Every time Onision writes a sex scene, an angel loses its wings. It's the most horrendous thing I have ever read. And in chapter 14 we get a ton more judgmental bullshit because, you know, we totally needed that. This wasn't awful enough to begin with. So while traveling back from seeing his dad, the alien appears on Daniel's flight. Why? Absolutely no clue. That the aliens are trying to kill him or something because he's too powerful or something like that. I don't know. And then Daniel courageously kills him with a fork. Yep. He kills him with a fork. Who writes this kind of thing? I'm getting so tired from going through all this again. Oh my god. Okay. Let's continue. And then Daniel starts this little killing spree where he flies without an airplane this time around the world and just zaps aliens with his mental glare. I don't know, they just die when he's near them and he thinks about it. I don't know. And after this murder spree, we get the absolutely charming quote, killing becomes boring after a while. Too bad non-seeing on kids doesn't become boring for you, Greg. And here for some reason we have a sudden time jump, like before Daniel was in like maybe second, first, some kind of like lower grade, but here apparently he is in high school. Girl from the Horrendous adult scene is still in the picture. I don't know why. She doesn't add anything. She's just kind of there to worship him, just like every other female character in his series of books has ever been. The alien finds Daniel in gym class and somehow like he writes them as if it is the same alien every time, but he also like kills every alien coming after him. I don't know. It's odd because these aliens are written without any kind of like person in general. They have no quirk, they have no nothing, they don't differ in appearances, they're just clones of each other. Maybe there's like, it's like a hive mind species and they're all one or something, I don't know. But apparently the aliens are now scared of Daniel, which is very unrealistic because the only people who should be scared of him are 14-year-old girls. And in chapter 16 we learn that Daniel can apparently read people's thoughts and also put thoughts into their heads. Cool. And also, boom, Julia dies. And that's the girl from the Strange. Because, you know, her death doesn't really matter because we have absolutely no reason to like her, because she was introduced like, what, 2 chapters ago. She has had no character arc, no chance of us getting to know her, nothing. If a death in a book is supposed to be meaningful, you need to give the readers the time needed to form a relationship, a bond with that character. You can't just snap your fingers and kill someone off and then you just expect people to be sad about it. That's not how it works. You can't do that. Daniel murders the assassins of his girlfriend. Again, we still don't care because still no character arc, nothing has changed. And then Daniel claims to want to witness the death of all aliens, which is happening in the other realm. That's literally what it's referenced to as, like just the other realm. This realm is not explained. It doesn't occur anywhere else in the book. Like, what is this? Are we just supposed to know what it is? Where did it come from? Also, in this chapter, we get a random insertion of the body, which is this super OP giant that serves no purpose. I don't know what he does. I don't know, he's just, again, kind of there. And since he's introduced at the end of the book, we still get no character arc. So we don't care about him either. He's just kind of there. And Julia is resurrected by this God Greg Daniel combo hybrid thingy, and he also turns her superhuman. So he's ridiculously OP without any loss of anything. If you make a character overpowered like this, they need to lose something. You have to have something to even the scales. They need to have like an ethical dilemma, or they need to lose someone who's really important to them, or they need to lose part of themselves, like maybe a tad of their humanity just goes away in the process. They need to have something. But nope, there is nothing once again. And then Super Greg and Super Random Chick talk about baby making. Ew. Then also for some reason we learn that Daniel can just delete people. I don't know why. He can just like Thanos snap them out of existence. Why is this a thing? I don't know. Isn't really demonstrated or talked about. Why? No one knows. How? Absolutely no idea. Hotel, Chicago. Old memes. Still funny to me. And then the book just ends. That's it. It ends there. No plot, no meaningful ending, nothing. This book is a big pile of nothing with like garbage sprinkled on top. It's just Onision stereotypes of the world, an extreme hero complex, and him just jerking himself off to a page. That's it. It's not worth the read. It's not worth like even looking at the cover, because look at the cover art. It is garbage. What is this? So the too long didn't read, or in this case too long didn't watch version, I thought it couldn't get any worse. It did. I thought Greg couldn't write a less likable character. He did. He keeps underwhelming me. Why? Why do you choose to put this stuff out into the world? It's not worth it. The entire book lacks plot lines, it lacks character arcs, it's just lacking in general. And I count my blessings for having read all his books now, because this means I don't have to do it again. Ever. I would recommend this book as a gift if you are for some reason obligated to get one for Satan or for Onision, because there are very few people on the earth who I think deserve this kind of suffering getting induced on them. So yeah, that's my review. Thank you for watching this video. If you kept with me this far, this was the last one of his books, so I won't be doing any more Onision reviews. But if you have any YouTuber books that you would like me to review, you can leave them in the comments somewhere and I just might do them. I hope you enjoyed this video more than I enjoyed reading the book, which isn't all that hard, but still, I hope it worked out for you. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and then I'll know to make more stuff like this. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. I will try to upload more regularly than I currently have. And other than that, I will see you later.